Hello and good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Paul Tranny here, kicking this week off with Photoshop typography challenge all week long. Same time, same place. I'm so happy you guys are here. Bliss, Annika, Afrosia, everyone, and everybody who's watching the replay as well. My name is Paul Tranny, evangelist for Adobe. Again, going to dive into today's photography challenge. Also, you can get all the info you need right below me, right? In the description, you can find the starter file, which is the big thing, right? So just go down to the description, access that starter file, and a ton more of info if you want. Of course, there's a Discord, and you can find more challenges and everything. So I'm going to dive on into this. I'm so happy you guys are here. I'm happy I get to talk about typography in Photoshop. It is the most used tool in Photoshop. Did you know that? So here we are. Let's dive in. And if you're joining me elsewhere, I see some Ite on YouTube. Wherever you're joining me, yeah, feel free to jump over to behance.net/live. That will get you there. All right, cool. All right, everything's good, going. We're going to get this started. We can see right in here, we have our lovely starter file. They're all going to look like this, by the way. So again, here's the file. Sure enough, bending type to your will is what we're going to be doing. So we're going to break some typography rules. We're just going to have fun with text and manipulate it as if it's a photo as well. So we're going to be using smart little eyeballs. We could always turn that off. And you can see this as some text right in here, right? Using my move tool, I can kind of move this into place, but all I really did is I used the text tool off to the side, click there and click, and then you can type in go if you want to, right? So that's how that is done. I already have the type right in here, right? I could imagine you know how to use a text tool, at least up to this point, because what app doesn't have a text tool? And yes, this is also along with 36 days of type. Thank you, Andrew, as well. So I'm glad we're doing this. So anyways, I think today is H, by the way. So nonetheless, here's my text, right? What can we do to manipulate it? Well, we want to open up our properties panel off to the side. So you can see our properties panel. You can always go to window properties, and we can see that this is Montserrat, you know, all those fun details, okay? But we want to go beyond just this because we want to kind of go with the flow. So here it is. We could increase the file size. If you're doing this, by the way, like I don't use this very much, very often, just so you know. But yes, I could change the point size to be something super small. With pretty much any dialogue in Photoshop, you can just scrub if it's a numerical dialogue right here. We can scrub on it and resize it that way. So you go. Scrub, scrub, larger, larger, like so, right? Again, move that into place. Hey, guess what? You're probably not crazy about Montserrat. What if you don't even have Montserrat? Well, guess what? It should have synced because it's Creative Cloud font. Oh, good. Kiss My Creative just learned what 36 days of type is. Oh, it's fun for you. So we could go in here. We can click on this. We can sort by different classes. Don't worry about that. The key thing is we could just roll over any one of these fonts that you have installed to get something more fun. Again, the phrase is going to be go with the flow. So we want something very flowy and fun with curves, right? Nothing too stuffy, right? Say, for instance, you don't notice any font in here that you're a fan of. You're like, come on, I didn't install anything that's good. Well, guess what? We can go out and get more from Adobe Fonts. So just click right here. I think this is always like a little bit hidden, but I love this. Click right here. It'll open up a browser window, and you might need to log in, but nonetheless, here we are on fonts.adobe.com. So this is fantastic. Ooh, thank you, Frank, with the pro tip. Just so you know, just to repeat what Frank mentioned in chat, scrub plus holding down the shift key will do it in incremental values. I assume by increments of 10, which is awesome. That is so cool. All right, so here we are. This is where we're going to get our fonts. Just make sure you're logged in. We could even, for our sample text, we can type in go with, because that's what I want you to do this week is have fun. Just go with the flow. Just go with it. You might not see anything in here that you like. And this is what I love about going out to fonts.adobe.com, we can view more of these tags, but essentially this is how I want to sort through all of my fonts. Again, we want to have some fun, so we want to kind of bounce between fun and funky. So here we are, funky, why not? Boom. This is the font I'm probably going to use. I like New Kansas, all right? I love how like bubbly it is, and it's a little retro, so I'm totally into it, right? In this case, like, honestly, the font is doing a lot of work. This sutra is super nice. Again, I want it kind of big and bubbly. We can go to fun as well. We'll click to fun. And what do we want to do if we want to activate a font? Let's say, for instance, let's actually go to next. Let's see what else we got. Oh, this one's kind of fun as well, right? Oh, that no wonder I like it. I've already synced it. Oh, this one's good though too. Oh, I've already synced that one. Why do I keep picking fonts that, of course I like them. I've already synced them. But Jumble, for instance, we can view the family. We could sync that font. And again, since this is day one, that's what I'm doing. Right up here, activating fonts. That's all we have to do. Okay. Reverb Mike prefers Old Kansas. Ah, yeah, the good old days of Old Kansas. Gotta love it. So again, I'm all these fonts are in the sort of the same vein. The key thing is to just kind of like remember the font name. That's sometimes the hardest, like Jumble or New Kansas. It's a good thing I've repeated it multiple times. But right up here, since I've clicked activate, it will actually appear right up here. And let me just kind of sort through some of these. That's one is where you can find similar fonts. But we could just type in Kansas or New Kansas, right? So that's all we need to do is remember the name, type it in, and then we can go ahead and select whichever one we want. I want to do Kansas New Black, something like that. Okay, but that's how you can obviously change the font, change the size, other properties, get new fonts, sync them directly, and then don't forget, once you find that font you want, go ahead and favorite it like that. So then you can kind of come in here and you're like, hey, you don't have to remember New Kansas at all. You could see just all my favorited fonts, which is pretty much all of my fonts, right? But that's how I usually do things, right? Marcus from Cologne, cheers to you, my friend. Thank you for joining me, everybody, especially if you're on YouTube. And a recap, we're going to be distorting type, so we're going to have some fun. Let's go type in some more with... Oh no, it got too big. Let's move it over. How can we resize this? Again, I'm doing this for everybody who's new here. We can go to Edit and go down to, say, Free Transform. For all you old schoolers, I get it. You know, just using Command T or Control T on a PC will give you these lovely controls. You can go ahead and shrink it down like so. So you don't have to change the font. In fact, what happened right over here, it actually changed the font size, which I absolutely love. So again, if I do a Command T, then we can scale it up and down. It actually changes the font. Notice how it does that right over here. Zoop. Love that. Boom, boom. All right. I'm going to select my text tool, okay? So this is one thing you have to remember. Selecting my text tool, okay? Right up here at the top. And I'm sorry if I'm going fast. I'm just too excited about this stuff. I need to chill out. Right up here at the top. Like, same thing for any tool you have over here. As you select it, you're going to get different properties for that tool. As I select the type tool, sure enough, I can sort of select the type, the size, before I even type if I want to. But this is the magic little button this is where I usually go. I don't know, Steve, Reverb Mike, Ted, if you guys do this. But right up here, we will go ahead and create warped text. Click right there. Boom, it opens up this. So this is largely like what Illustrator does as well. So it's a 2-for-1 today. You learn this in Photoshop, you could apply it to Illustrator. Okay, shortcuts do rule. And then from here, you could just go ahead and have some fun sort of distorting this type. Arc up, arc lower, you know, do whatever you want. And then you're going to have additional controls as well to bend it, as you can see, right? So this is sort of your beginning of distortions, right? This works out well. I'm not sure which one you guys use. I will often use arc if I'm doing like a banner and I want it to kind of be over something. I'll do an arc. Anything I want like a perfect sort of arc with text, that's where I might select this. Okay. But for this, I kind of want to do like maybe rise. Maybe I'll play with rise, right? Because we kind of bend it like so. And we still have the ability to adjust the horizontal distortion and vertical distortion. So here, this gives me an opportunity to really emphasize the go and minimize the width, okay? And all I'm doing is rise. I could remember these numbers, but let's be honest with you. I'm not gonna. I'm too lazy, right? So there we go. We'll go with, click OK, boom. All right. That is done. Let's take this same text and we're going to duplicate it. What's the, since you guys are all about shortcuts, what's the shortcut for duplicating a layer? You guys tell me what I just did. Tell me what I just did to duplicate that layer. What keyboard shortcut I used. Come in here, use the text tool, click the flow. Command N, you would think it's going to give you a new file. Command J, boom, nailed it. Norsh wins. Congratulations, Norsh, got that right. Okay, so notice how this is not quite fitting together. Guess what? Even though I've duplicated this, guess what? I can go right up here to distort this text. And sure enough, I want to adjust the horizontal distortion. Still emphasize the word flow and minimize the. So I'm making this fit together nice and neat. By the way, that, you know, Kiss by Creative, that's the perfect answer. Command N, if you're asking me to create something new, I will literally try that on my keyboard, like, without even looking. I'm like, this has to be it, right? So anyways, valid choice. So there we are. We have this. We can kind of fit this together, right? Looking good so far. And what I'm going to do is now I really want to start distorting this a lot. Okay, so we could go into we can go down here. We went to free transform. We can go into transform and like try to warp it. But what if I want to like distort it or skew it and do a number of things? Some of these might be grayed out or like deselected. And I can show you how. Anytime this is the case, Ted, Judith, anyone out there, anytime this is the case, it's because it's maybe it's a vector object and it's looking for a raster object. The best way to get around this is convert it to a smart object. And that's actually what I want to do for both of these. I'm going to select both of these layers. And guess what? This is where we get into our pro tips. This is so nice. Your new best friend, smart object. That's right. If it says smart, you want to use it. I am going so fast. I'm glad this is being recorded. Boom. Go with the flow. Go with the flow, people. Chill out. It's all right. All right. So here we are. It made this one smart object that we can move around and we can start to manipulate. So now it's going to get crazy. So if I want to edit the text, because chances are, knowing me, who does this? You misspelled it. Anytime I deal with text, I'm like, oh man, I misspelled that word. Double click, it actually opens up this new file. So it's in, you know, the flow PSD. The name doesn't really matter, but now you can go in and edit it, and that's how that works, right? I would have done go with the flu. So anyways, there that is. You can edit it, close that back. That's how that works. Now let's go back into edit, transform. And we have all these other options available to me. Yay, this is great. So I could do a distort, perspective, a warp. So again, I like to do that. I did this for two reasons. Because I wanted more options in here. And then I actually wanted to distort this type as one unit, right? As one layer. So we're going to go into warp, right? Warp, we get this bounding box, right? And we can start to push this content around to make it even more unique, right? Because we don't want to just deal with sort of the things out of the box when it comes to distortions. So I can kind of manipulate it like so. And I'm just pushing and pulling around and trying to get something interesting that's kind of fun and warpy, right? Like, kind of like that. Let's make this a little larger, like so. Hit enter. Boom. pro tip for you guys who want to go back into that selection, Command T, and then if you right click, this is so much easier. Rather than going clear up to edit, clear down, blah, 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 just do Command T and right click. And now you have everything that you can, you can go back in and select warp, for instance. Sorry about that. Right, and the cool thing is if you go back in there to warp it, it keeps all of your Bezier points, and that's what these are, which is awfully nice. Right, so this is so much fun. That's right, that's what I want to hear. You want to have fun with this because that's the goal, is just have fun, right? And that's looking kind of cool. I want to manipulate it some more. Let's go crazy, folks. Because guess what? You don't want to know what my favorite filter is? Is this one, Liquify. Go to Filter and Liquify. Oh, yeah. Now, this is going to be really fun. Liquify will recognize faces. You could push pixels around, but I think it's cool to use this to manipulate and bend type. Okay? So right up here at the top, you can see that this one is called Forward Warp, and then we could do a Reconstruct as well. But you get a number of options in here. Forward Warp is what I'm going to start with because I really want to pull this out. And I'm controlling the brush size by pressing the open bracket and closing bracket on my keyboard. So I can come in here and pull that up, right, like so. We'll kind of, this got a little smashed, so let's like pull this down, right, and extend this T up like that. Right, let's get this really flowy and we can pull this down. Please have fun with this because, you know, it is fun. And honestly, like I say, it almost doesn't matter the end result. The end result does matter, but the fact is I want you to have fun, right? Because life is 90% creating and only 10% like the finished product, right? I want you to be proud of it, but if you're not having fun creating, then I think that's like a missed opportunity is all. So that's all I'm doing. I'm pulling on these. Things might get a little wonky. That's a technical term, wonky. Anytime they get a little wonky and you'll try to like fix it, that's when you want to go to this Reconstruct tool. Yeah, you are right, Ted. It is my favorite. I'm not shy about it either, you know. It's like, look, you could do this. You could pull this down. What? Push this in, right? And again, anytime you let's do some fun curves like that. That's kind of cool. Zoop. What else can we do a little zoop with? A little zoop right here. Zoop. Like so. A little zoop up here. Little zoop over here. I don't know. It's getting a little weird, but I'm into it. Ooh, Marcus asks, how can you record the liquefy steps for further animations? That's going to mean taking this into After Effects. And lucky for you, I have a day devoted to animation, just so you know. But technically, that would mean After Effects. Again, use the deconstruct tool if you wanted to kind of deconstruct it back. See how I clicked and it deconstructs it back? I will undo that, but that's how you can, if things get a little wonky, just go in there and do the deconstruct, right? If you want to do any twists or any of these, I want to point this out really fast. We have twirl clockwise. Does this mean there's not a counterclockwise? Well, of course not. We'll go over here. We'll just increase the size here. We'll do a twirl clockwise, which is actually kind of cool, okay? Undo that. Hold down the Option key, and it's going to do the opposite and basically twirl counterclockwise. The same thing goes for the pucker and bloat, right? So these, if you hold down the bloat tool, we can bloat parts of it. And then if we want to pucker other parts, which means kind of pinch, you can just hold down the Option key, right? So that's all we're doing. We're going to click OK, and there's our funky type. Cool. Oh, good. Thank you so much. If you have your favorite challenge, that's awesome. Again, I'm going to be around all week, same time, same place. Just join me on behance.net/live. All right. So we have this kind of squared away. I think this is kind of cool. Let's play some more. And I have 5 minutes to do this. So I've done all this cool distortion, but I want to have some cool, like, color sort of shadows and things with this. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. So what did we learn? Command J will jump that layer and it creates a duplicate, right? So underneath that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of this. And I apologize if this is a little complex, but I want to change the color of this one. I'll turn off the top one, double click, and we're just going to do a color overlay of yellow. So we'll just sample yellow. We'll make it really bright. We'll get into that kind of business like there, okay? So I just gave it a color overlay by just double clicking in this space here. And then you can add all those fun effects, which also appear right down here. Oh, thank you very much. All right, we'll turn this back on, right? Now I want to have that color kind of spilling out of that text. So that's where I can come in and I can say, hey, you know what? That liquify that I added earlier is right here, right? So again, here's my top one. This is going to be my yellow, right? But let's just double click on liquify because anytime you add an effect, it'll be listed below if it's a smart object. Now I can have fun sort of pushing this up a little bit more. And I don't even know if I want to do this, to be honest with you. Oop. I decided I might want to do it a different way. But let's push this up. We'll push this down like so, right? And that's what I want. I want some like spillage, if you will, right? And that's how you can manipulate it to kind of have it spill out. Another way to do this is go into Edit, Transform, and do some more warping. So this might be another opportunity where we can take that and we can just pull that down and warp that and warp that. Hit Enter. And you can see it kind of spilling out. So that's the goal. Whether you want to warp it or whatever, you get that sort of look, okay? Wonky shadow for wonky type. That's right. Okay, did you know when you start distorting, sometimes some of these effects will get deactivated, right? If you ever want something to just stay where it is, you just like want to freeze it, you can always convert to smart object. So you, again, this is kind of mind-blowing, but it's like, what, Inception. You can have a smart object inside of a smart object inside of a smart object, right? Because now I can have another one. And I know I'm going a little fast now. We can have one that's green. So this second one that's going to be green. Get there, Paul, get there. We don't have much time. So here's my green one. But again, this is what I'm going to do. Command T, right click, warp it. We've already learned how to do this. We could warp that a little bit more and have it go up and have this pull this down, right? So again, I'm just having fun doing that. And I would do this like 1,000 more times. I would do this again, and this one, this color overlay is going to be pink. So now we're going to have a pink version. Command T, right click, warp, bloop, bloop, like that. Right? So I would keep doing this over and over again to get the look that I want, right? Again, I think this is fun for me. Hopefully you guys find it fun. What other color? Sure, why not? Command T, right click, warp. And I get it. I'm covering a lot on day one. But, you know, it's all smart objects and then distorting. I'm going to change the color. There we go. Cool. So that's your goal. Just get funky with it, right? Have some fun. Manipulate this all you want because, again, once you know how to do this one time, you can do this as many times as you want, as you can see, right? There we have it. I've already posted this to Instagram. You guys get the idea. If I click over, you could see this final one. What did you do here, Paul? You went crazy. But again, I don't know. I swear there's nothing weird in my coffee. I don't know why it got really trippy. But I decided just to have some fun with it. So again, you can go be conservative or you can go a little more crazy as you can see right here. Cool. Cool thing is, guess what? This is still a smart object. I just want to change the font or whatever. I can do that. What I would do with this, by the way, just honestly, is I would add some more shadowing to this by having an additional layer on top. And I would start like painting on it and clipping it to that folder. But again, that's for another day, just so you know. And I would make sure that this is set to say, I don't know, usually soft light will do it. But I would just kind of work on some of the shading in there. Would be kind of fun. But you get the idea. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. And please hang out with me all week. Because you know what? I work from home. I get lonely. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm like, please somebody come play with me in Photoshop. And don't forget, when you're ready to export, you can do a file, export, quick. You can just do an export as, quite frankly. That works just fine. And export that out, you know, as a JPEG and post that to Discord and all that stuff. Show your friends, post it to Instagram, and you guys get the idea. Thanks so much, everybody. I really appreciate you guys. We will see you all next time, actually tomorrow at the same time. And thank you so much for participating, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.